The TBR game is just choosing violence straight up. Hello my loves and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and today we are doing June's TBR game, and oh my god, is my TBR slightly insane because I'm taking part in so many different things in June. So we are going to be doing my TBR game, which I'll explain in just a moment, but also in the month of June is the Amazing Readathon, which is hosted by Bree and I am a co-host. My team is the Steelwatchers and I'm a co-host alongside Lexi. Come and join us if you want to. I am so excited. I'm gonna have Bree's announcement video linked below for you so you can get all of the details, but a very brief overview. We are basically traveling to different portal worlds and each world is going to have its own reading prompts. There are 10 prompts and we do know what the prompts are, but we do not know what order they are going to be in. Hopefully with my TBR game I'm going to get a few books that will also work for the Amazing Readathon, although I'm trying to keep them really short. I do not want long books on my TBR. I want them as short as possible. However, on top of doing the Amazing Readathon, there is also a read along happening for Jurassic Park in May. Leandra and Rainey, they're the ones that are hosting this. We read Jurassic Park in May and then we're reading The Lost World in June. So that is a book that I have, which I should have got it, hang on. The Lost World, very excited to be reading this one. Again, I mentioned this in May, I've not read these books but I have seen the films, so I'm really excited to continue the read along with this. So this is one of the longer books that are going onto my TBR for the month, but I really do still want to be a part of this read along, so definitely going to be reading that. Then also in June, me and Lexi are doing a really fun reading vlog. This is something that she's done on her channel for a while. We're testing each other's reading taste, so we have to give each other different reading recommendations. She's going to be providing me with 3 books, I provide her with 3 books, and we're also going to be doing a buddy read for the month, and the buddy read is Victorian Psycho, which I'm really excited about. I've been hearing great things about this book. Definitely want to be getting myself a copy because I think I'm really going to like it. So this is another book that is definitely going onto the TBR for the month. And then it doesn't end there. Of course it doesn't end there because I'm insane. But I also have my Patreon reading jar. For those that don't know, I do have a Patreon, and my top tier Patreon, the rocking chairs, have access to my physical TBR and are able to put in any books they think I should be prioritizing. They can do as many as they want. I pick from this every single month and eventually I will get round to reading those books. I still haven't read May's book, which is Puzzle Me a Murder by Roz Noonan, so I will definitely get into this. So this is also added onto the June TBR, but we'll see if I actually get to it in June. I don't think so. So we might have a bit of a backlog, but I will definitely get through it, and maybe July we'll just do an intensive week where we just get through them. Before we do the TBR game, let's do the Patreon TBR pick. Give it a good shake up. Honestly, there is such a random mix in this jar because there are some books that have been on my shelves for ages that I'm just not in the mood for, and a couple of books that I am very excited for. But you know what, let's just go with this one. Okay, so that is Oscar Wilde's Fairy Tales, and this was put in there by Heidi. This is a short story collection, and it literally is what it says on the tin, which is Oscar Wilde Fairy Tales. This is the complete fairy stories of Oscar Wilde, and they're just kind of different, cute little, more middle grade-esque fairy tales with little illustrations in. This is going to be quite cute, so this is probably one that I will read slowly, but as part of choosing them from the Patreon jar, they do get exclusive videos for these books when I get round to reading them. I think this should be fun. It's been on my TBR for absolutely ages, so this will be good to read, so thank you for that, Heidi. Now that's all done, now let's get into my TBR game. That was a bit of a long intro this time, but TBR game, very, very simple. We have a 6 coloured sided dice that correlates to little ghosts. They are adorable, and these ghosts sit on top of a prompt. Really, really simple. I roll the dice a minimum of 5 times. However, if the same colour comes up twice, then we have to do an additional roll. So there's anywhere between 5 to 7 books to read for the month because I do cap the additional rolls at 2 times. Anyway, I'm just gonna go on different tangents, and this intro has been long enough already. Thank you so much for joining. Please let me know if you're taking part in the Amazing Readathon, and if you are, what team are you joining? But I think we should just get straight to roll number 1. Before we get into that first roll, we need to replace the last prompt that was chosen last month, and I think we're gonna go in the middle. Oh, if I can get it. Now we're all set up, let's do that first roll. Orange, okay. Oh no. No, this is, no. Okay, well that goes against every single plan. I have a book over 500 pages. The TBR game is just choosing violence. Straight off the bat, we've got over 500 pages, which does not work for any of my reading plans. I'm going to double check the 2 books that I need to be reading. Oh, I forgot to mention, we do also have a Discord book club pick for the month as well. So I'll check the 3 books that I'm definitely going to be reading for the month and see. But like, I've got 10 books to read for the Amazing Readathon, and I was really hoping to keep everything really short. And yeah, that has now gone no. The Lost World, 430. So no. Let me grab my phone. Victorian Psycho, that is only 208 pages, it's saying. Like, that's a short book. That doesn't work. Okay, so we're not gonna do that. And then the other one is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Bacon, which is the Discord book club pick for the month. It's only 320 pages. So no, none of those are over 500 pages. We'll choose a book for it, but I have to admit, this is probably the book that I am the least likely to get to because as I've just said, like, there are so many things I'm getting to this month, and so short, quick books was the need. If we don't get to it in June, then we'll roll it over into July and we'll do it that way. So let's just have a look at my shelves and see what book, and maybe, you know, maybe we'll just do 2 and just get you to choose because I don't know. This was not in the plans. Straight off the bat, the one I'm thinking of is this book here, Our Share of Night by Marina Enriquez. This one is, I think this one's translated from Spanish, I want to say. Yes, it is. It's translated by Megan McDowell, and this is a book that I have been really intrigued in reading. It's also on my 25 to read in 2025. This is a book that could definitely be a contender, which again, I don't know if I'd get to it in June, but this would be like added to July, I think, or at least started in June is kind of what I'm thinking. I'm intrigued by. We could do The First Binding by R.S. Verdi. This was a previous book that you got to choose between. It's just the other one won by a slight amount. The only thing is in all honesty, my fantasy mood is plummeting so strongly, so I don't know if that's going to be one that I get to or not, especially because I think starting July, Danny and I are going to be reading Ninth Reign. We're going to be doing a buddy read for this series. Actually, saying that, is that 500 pages? It is. Aha! 530. Oh, okay, so that could be an option. Oh, okay, we'll keep that one out and we'll just see if there's anything else. I could do a sci-fi book. I don't know if I want to be starting a new series just yet though, but that is one that I could do. A reread of Aurora Rising is something I've been wanting to do for a while because I want to decide if this is a series I want to continue on with. That just misses out actually. This is only 450-ish pages, so that doesn't work. Could do book 2 of Emperor of the Vampire, which is available on Libby. I think that's kind of it, really, of what I'm in the mood for, so let's grab them so you can vote. For roll number 1, I am going to get you to vote on which one it is. So for the book over 500 pages. Now, in all honesty, like I say, I don't think these are actually going to be getting read in June. This one, if you choose it, I will attempt to start it towards the end of June, but it will be rolling over into July. Or we have the buddy read that I'm going to be doing with Danny and potentially Kat, The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams, and this one will probably be taking place in July, depending on everyone's schedules and how it all works out. Very advanced planning. Let me know which one you think. I mean, I don't mind regardless which one you choose. I am looking forward to both of these. I'm loving horror at the minute. So Our Share of Night by Marina Enriquez, as I mentioned, translated from Spanish, and this is a book that I have had my eye on for a while. I have heard only brilliant things about this author, about this book, and in this one it's kind of like a cult. We're following Gaspar, who is 6 years old when the order first comes for him because his father has been helping them do these different rituals and things, and now they want him to replace his father, and he's kind of on the run and dealing with different things. It spans different times. I think the latest is 1997. Earliest it starts is 1981. Just seen it go across from there. I'm excited and intrigued. This is an author I have been meaning to read from for a while, and this was very kindly a gift from Elizabeth, so thank you so much for that. So that's one potential. Or we can go with the book that I'm going to be reading soon, some point, like I say, this year. Danny and I did make the decision to buddy read this series together. I have only read the first book, and so to continue on with books 2 and 3, whereas I think Danny's read the first and second book, but potentially not the third. I think I needed the motivation to actually continue on with this series because it's one that I just keep putting off. I read this first book ages ago, and I do think it is very interesting. This is one of the few fantasy that I could still be inclined to read, especially because I'm rereading it first. This one, we're following a few different main characters, but we're basically in this world where there are elves and witches and humans, but the elves, they've kind of turned into vampiric elves. The tree of life that was sustaining their long life is dying, and they're now having to use human blood to continue their long lives, which is obviously causing all sorts of problems between humans and elves. And then we also follow a witch, so we follow one human, one elf, and we also follow a witch. Witches in this world are persecuted. They are kept in these horrible prison conditions because they say their magic is far too dangerous. But we follow a witch and her story, and we just see how these three end up together. I did really enjoy this. I thought it was so interesting and kind of refreshing, something a bit different in fantasy, which was nice. So I am looking forward to the buddy read with Danny and continuing on with this series. So I will leave it to you which one I should be prioritizing. I mean, like I say, I think I'll be reading this one regardless anyway, so it's just kind of if you also want me to be reading this by the latest of July. I don't mind, I'm happy with both. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you've read either of these and what you think of them. But yeah, that was not expected. I feel like the July TBR is actually going to be insane. I feel like we're going to have so many books that are going to be rolling over because of Patreon TBR picks, plus things like this. I think, yeah, we're in for intensive reading few months, but I'm also kind of looking forward to it. That was just so unexpected. Like, that was not what was needed at all. Let's hope roll number 2 goes a little bit better than roll number 1. That was a curveball I hadn't planned for. Let's choose another prompt, or like replace that prompt. Replace that prompt. I am slowly getting there with the wording of this game. Considering it's been years, you'd think I'd know, but okay. Let's just go, I'm just gonna go at the front this time. Let's go for this one. Can always do with a cozy book, not gonna lie. And roll number 2. Orange again. Are we, I mean, okay. I feel like I jinxed myself, but are we okay? So orange again, we got a cozy book, but it is also the first additional roll, so we're gonna have to replace that prompt and do another roll. Oh, okay, that one fell out, so we're gonna go with this one. And yeah, let's do another roll already. Okay, yellow. Alright, that's a prompt I needed, so that is fine. I can deal with that. Yeah, this TBR game is going violence, and violence only today. Got our first additional roll already. So the first prompt is cozy book. For that, I'm actually going to go with the Discord book club pick, which is Wizard's Guide to Defensive Bacon by T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher is the most chosen author in the book club, which I am not upset about. So if you don't know, I do have a monthly book club. It is free to join in Discord. Link is always there, but it's all free. Every single month, everyone gets to put in choices of whatever the book's going to be, and it all gets voted on. June is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Bacon, which works perfectly because one of the prompts in the Amazing Readathon is to read a cozy book, and this is going to work amazingly for that. I honestly don't know what this one is about because I don't like going into T. Kingfisher books knowing much because I know I'm going to enjoy them regardless. For this one, I think we're following a baker. I think we're in this world where everyone has different magic and things, and this baker is able to bake gingerbread men that can fight or something. Again, I don't know. I am literally just making up stuff at this point, but I'm expecting to like it. I really do love T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher is one of my absolute favourite authors, so I'm just expecting this to be a really fun, cute, cozy time, so it works for game, and also is the first book on the Amazing Readathon, so perfect. To be fair, the second prompt for roll number 2, which is manga, also works out well because, as I said, I'm really wanting to read short books, and so June I am planning to get through quite a bit of my manga, so that's great. I've decided to go with The Promised Neverland Volume 6, and this one is also working for a prompt on the Amazing Readathon for an over-the-top cover. This does feel like an over-the-top cover to me because, like, we've got the main person, but we've got lots going on in the background as well, and I feel like every single book in this series is a bit like that. I love this series. It's probably one of my favourite manga series to read. We're following this group of children that are in this, like, care home. They find out a deadly the secret about this care home, and maybe things really aren't what they seem, and it gets really dark, but I just love it. I think it's really entertaining, really interesting the way it's all done, and yeah, I just love it. And I read manga so slowly, but there's really no need to read them so slowly because they're such quick reads, but I do just take my time with getting around to them. Having a readathon like this, where yes, there are 10 prompts plus additional prompts plus like this reading weekend that's gonna happen, and this works out great for getting those books read, getting points for my team. The first book also works as like an isolated setting, so for the Steelwatchers you get an extra 50 points for every book that has an isolated setting. First book works for that. I don't think this one does. That's role number 2 with 2 extra books on the TBR. I mean, at least those are 2 that work for the Amazing Readathon, so I've only got 8 more to go for that. Let's move on to role number 3. Replacing that. What on earth did I just do? It just went everywhere. We're gonna go with that one because it's face up. Okay, right, we're just causing lots of chaos today. Let's go for role number 3. Blue, which is a retelling, another one that actually works well for the Amazing Readathon. Finally have a nice prompt, which is retelling, and for this I'm going with another manga, Moriarty the Patriot Volume 5. This one works for retelling because it is based on Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So this series takes the villain from Sherlock Holmes, Professor Moriarty, and we look at how Professor Moriarty became Professor Moriarty, while also interweaving some of the tales from the Sherlock Holmes stories within this manga series. I like it. I enjoy it. I mean, it's a retelling of Sherlock Holmes. I really enjoy retellings. I enjoy Sherlock Holmes, so it works really well for me. Volume 5 was a little bit slow for me because it was more just background story on one of the side characters more than anything else. But towards the end of that volume, we started getting back to Sherlock Holmes and different things happening there, so I'm excited for Volume 6. And this works really well for another prompt on the Amazing Readathon, which is to read a book with a green cover, and obviously this has a lovely green background, so that works out perfectly for the Amazing Readathon as well. So hey, that's 3 done, which I'm very excited about. Role number 3 went perfectly. This is the energy I want to be carrying on. I don't know what happened to role number 1 and 2. That just was chaos. Let's hope that this sort of energy continues to role number 4. I'm gonna try not to throw the prompts everywhere this time and just shuffle. Okay, I am really bad at this today. So we'll just go for this one as it turned over. And let's do role number 4. Orange. Again, thankfully, the additional roll only applies if the same colour comes up twice. Doesn't matter if it comes up more than that, it's only twice, which is good. And that's a pretty book, which could cause some problems for the Amazing Readathon. I was a little bit worried about pretty cover, or like pretty book, because some of the books I want to read for the Amazing Readathon, they're not necessarily pretty. 2 other manga I have on my TBR for the Amazing Readathon, we've got Moriarty the Patriot Volume 6, and also Dead Man Wonderland Volume 5. I wouldn't say either of these are particularly pretty covers, but then I was going through the list of books that I've thinking about reading for the Amazing Readathon, and one of the prompts gave me the most trouble, and that is to read a book with a celestial or godly word in the title. But then Leandra did a video where she was giving loads of different recommendations for each of the different prompts, and the one that she said for this prompt, The Prayer of the Crown Shy by, is it Becky Chambers, I want to say? Which is the second book in the Robot and Monk T-Monk series. I read the first one, which is a psalm for the wild build, and just kind of never finished up this little duology. But I checked on Libby and the audiobook is actually available. Well, there's a bit of a wait to it, so I'm hoping it becomes available by the time I need to read it for the Amazing Readathon. This is one that I'm thinking of. It's only a 4-hour audiobook. Audiobook is not my preferred reading, but this sort of series, like, it was cozy and comforting. It's not a series I feel like I need for my shelves. I actually prefer their other series, the Wayfarer series, more. But this one is quite cute and quaint. So in the first book, we meet Mosscap, who is a robot that's trying to work out what humans need. And then our human character, they're kind of feeling a little bit adrift and becomes a T-Monk wandering around trying to also find out, well, what do they need? End up teaming up together. I think this will just be a really quaint, cute little read. It will work for Amazing Readathon prompt of a celestial or godly word because of prayer, and I do really like this cover. I think the pastel colours to it and everything really work. I mean, this could also work for an over-the-top cover, things like that, but I've chosen it for this prompt, so yeah. That's good. That worked out well. I was a little bit nervous, but it worked. So that's fine. But right, okay, we're on to roll number 5. And are we just going to get a nice, easy one, or is it going to go back to violence? I guess we're going to find out. Okay, replacing that prompt. Go, you know what, let's go in the middle. Let's go about here. Roll number 5. Are you going to be nice to me? Ooh, purple. Okay. I will take that. A book on my Kindle TBR. Again, this could work out nicely. For Kindle TBR, I'm also able to double up with a prompt for the Amazing Readathon to read a book with low ratings but that you think you're going to love. The book I've had on my TBR, on my Kindle, for a while now is The Witch in the Well by Camilla Bruce, and looking on Storygraph only has a 3.08 average rating, which is quite low to me. We're gonna see if I like it. I mean, I've had this on my TBR since I read You Let Me In by Camilla Bruce, which I really enjoyed, and then I managed to pick this book up for like 99p. I'm going based on the assumption that I'm going to enjoy The Witch in the Well because I enjoyed their other book. This one I don't really know what it's about. It's a Norwegian thriller. When two former friends reunite after decades apart, their grudges, flawed ambitions and shared obsessions swirl into an all too real echo of a terrible town legend. And then I think we're going to have a dual timeline, because then it says centuries ago a beautiful young Elizabeth was accused of witchcraft after several children disappeared. Her acquittal did nothing to stop her fellow townsfolk from drowning her in the well where the missing children were last seen, and I think it's all gonna kind of mesh together. We'll see. I mean, it sounds really good. To me, that sounds like a book I'm really going to like, so hopefully I do like it. But I now have a bunch of other books to talk about that I want to be reading for the Amazing Readathon, so we're just going to take this time to go over the TBR. 5 prompts for the Amazing Readathon. We have a romance book. I'm going romance subplot. We've got Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford. I think this should also work for an isolated setting because it's set in a house in a wood. I think that's where the majority of the story is going to take place, but we're following a main character, Ada, and her father. They live really secluded lives in this forest, and then Ada starts a relationship with a local person called Samson, but things are really weird and disturbing, and I don't know, I've had this one recommended to me. I think I'm really gonna like it. It's under 200 pages, really easy read to get through, especially because some things are like as short as that. Really looking forward to reading this one. Then we've also got a couple more manga that I'm thinking of reading. One of them I don't know what I'm going to be reading because it's going to work for the prompt of just reading a book that was shorter than my previous read. So it's very much just going to depend on what book I last read to see what manga would work for it, and we're just going to go based on that. I've got a few to choose from, so I'm fine with that. So that one's just being left. I've got 2 other manga, the ones that I already showed you. Dead Man Wonderland, which also works for an isolated setting because this is an isolated setting of a prison that's happening in Tokyo. People are fighting to the death to raise money for Tokyo. Now the people watching don't think it's actually real. So I'm going to be reading Dead Man Wonderland Volume 5, and this works for a violent word in the title of Dead Man. As I mentioned, Moriarty the Patriot Volume 6, I already mentioned what this one is about, and this works for the prompt of read a book that takes place in a large city, and this takes place in London. And then the last book that I've got to be reading is to read a book with a chilling cover. Going with another short little book, which is The Butcher of the Forest by Promate Mohammed, and this is chilling to me because like look at all these skulls, these little skulls on all the animals and stuff, like that's creepy. I think this one could also work for isolated setting potentially because we have this creepy forest. Our main character Varys has got to go into this forest for some reason, and it's going to go from there. Again, I don't know much about this one. It's tiny, it's a tiny little book. It is literally 134 pages long, so I do not want to know what's going to happen in this because it is such a short little book. Sorry that my synopsis was so vague for this one, but I really don't want to know much more than the fact that we've got these creepy ass forest and we've got our main character who's got to go into them because again it's tiny. I want to be surprised and see what actually happens. Those are for the Amazing Readathon, and then of course adding to that we have Victorian Psycho and also The Lost World plus the Patreon books. Now like I say, I think these Patreon books are going to be rolling over into July. I don't think I'm going to get to these at all, so I'm not going to add them onto the TBR, but let's go over the TBR for June and all the things that I'm going to be reading. Starting off with the read along book book, which is The Lost World by Michael Crichton. This is the last book in the duology of Jurassic Park. As I mentioned, this read-along is hosted by Rainey and Leandra. Very excited to be reading this one. I will definitely be getting to it. I feel like this one's going to also be a quick read because of just how the formatting is done in this one. The writing's pretty big, so I feel like I should be able to fly through this one. Adding to this, we have Victorian Psycho, which is going to be the buddy read with Lexi. I'm really excited for this. As I already mentioned, like, I think it's going to be a really good book. Oh, I didn't mention what Jurassic Park was about. I kind of assume that everybody knows. This scientist works out how to recreate dinosaurs, makes a theme park, and things go terribly wrong. Victorian Psycho, we're following someone that becomes a nanny. I think it's a nanny or a housemaid for this house. She goes in and she is not, well, she might be a little bit more weird, questionable than what we first think. I've heard that she has a lot of really weird, intrusive thoughts. This is another really short book though, so I think I will be able to get to this one easily, and I don't think it's going to be long, but I think I'm going to really like it, so fingers crossed. Then we have extra books that I need to fit on for the Amazing Readathon. So the one for the chillin' cover, as I mentioned, The Butcher of the Forest. A large city setting, we have Moriarty the Patriot Volume 6. For a violent word in the title, we have Dead Man Wonderland Volume 5. We are also going to have another manga added to this as just a short book. Don't know which one it's going to be. It will just be a mood read depending on what the last book I read was and how short the manga is. Then we have a book with romance in, which is Follow Me to Ground, which I'm really looking forward to this. It's a horror book's been recommended to me so many times, so I'm really looking forward to getting to that one. And now we're back into the actual TBR game. So alongside these for the Amazing Readathon, I will also be reading Moriarty the Patriot Volume 5. This works for green cover for the Amazing Readathon, but also a retelling for my TBR game. We also have Promised Neverland Volume 6, which works for an over-the-top cover for the Amazing Readathon, but also works for just a manga on my TBR game. Then we also have, for a cozy book, we have Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, which worked for a cozy book for the Amazing Readathon and my TBR game. For my TBR game of a pretty book and also the Amazing Readathon prompt of a celestial or godly word in the title, we have a Prayer for the Shy Crown? I think it was. No, Prayer for the Crown Shy. Wow, I'm messing up that title already. But we have that one as well. For my Kindle TBR, that also works with a book for the Amazing Readathon, a book with low ratings that I think I'm going to love. I'm adding The Witch in the Well to this TBR as well. I think that's all of the ones that I don't own. Yes, that's all the ones that I don't own for the readathon. On top of that, we are adding in the book for you to choose for the month, which, as I said, I think this is going to be rolling over into July, but you get to choose whether I should be reading The Ninth Reign or Our Share of Night. Let me know in the comments below which one you think I should be reading. Like I said, I think Ninth Reign possibly reading anyway in July, but is whether you also want me to be reading Our Share of Night in the month of July. Starting in June. I am going to try and start this one in June, but this works for the prompt over 500 pages. And then adding to all of this, we do have 3 books that I don't know what I'm going to be reading, as chosen by Lexi. Also potentially other books which don't fit any of this, because my Patreons are choosing what the first episode of Shop My Shelves is going to be. I've also decided to have that video ready for you in June, so we're going to see what my Patreons choose. They are choosing between either a spinner wheel choosing, which is the one that's winning, a 5-star predictions one, or a Kindle one. This is a ridiculous TBR. We are incorporating a few different things, but you know what? I am really excited for it. I like the fact that I have so many different things to be reading, that I've got lots of different manga. Am I gonna get to all of this? Who knows? I think it's a bit ambitious, but we are gonna try. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you're going to be reading in the month of June. Are you taking part in the Discord book club pick? Are you taking part in the Jurassic Park read along? Are you taking part in the Amazing Readathon? Do let me know all of that in the comments below, and just genuinely thank you so much for watching. Like, your support means so much. I genuinely appreciate it. If you've made it this far, we're the Steelwatchers. Let's put a little cog emoji in the comments below if you've made it this far and just don't know what to comment. But I just again want to say thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. An extra special thank you to my Patreons for all of your continued support over there. Really truly appreciate every single one of you. We're at the end. If you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing and commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links, Discord, Patreon, everyone I've mentioned, the Amazing Readathon, Lexi, Rainey and Leandra, and everyone is linked below for you, as well as all the other co-hosts for the Amazing Readathon. I will catch you in the very next video.